Hi, I'm Don Schaefer, and I want to welcome all of you to the session 4 of the Project Manager. And we've been stepping into various areas, and by this time, you should be developing a different way of seeing things, understanding things, and setting your life up to be able to get the project that you're working on in a working way. And last week, I know we talked about stop wasting time. You can't make more time, only better choices. I've got a couple extra points I want to add to that, which I'm going to quickly go through. It says, as far as finding time, we talked about vital time last week. Talked about the fact that you have goals now, you have direction in your life, and you need segments of time to be able to get this done. And the problem a lot of individuals run into is they can't find vital time. They can't find the time they need to get what they need done. You know, they can come up with wonderful goals and all that, but all of a sudden, you know, because they don't find time, they end up not doing what they want to do. And that's where we're hoping, you know, through all this, that we can come to an understanding. Vital time is vital. You have to find vital time to do what you want to do, or you never do it. You know, and you can wish and hope and all this sort of thing, but unless you take your life and schedule it in a way where you have certain times for what you want to do, you will never fulfill what you want to do. Simple as that. Because there's so many fillers in life that come in. But I've got a couple ideas here. The first point I had here is find a hideaway where you won't be disturbed. Okay, this is just an idea. Some people do that. A lot of times there's a lot of disturbance in life. I worked with a guy that went to college, and he went across the road into a maintenance room, and that's where he did his studying. Because he said in the dorm there was always disturbances. So he wanted vital time, quality time to do what he needed to do. Next point I had here is set up a location for all that you own. Won't waste time looking for things. Okay, this is just a little tips here, but being able to find a spot for everything you own is a way of saving time. Because how much time do we spend looking for things in life, especially car keys and stuff like that? Okay, develop a how-to file, and you won't need to in the future waste time trying to figure out how you do this stuff. Say myself, I don't know about you guys, maybe you have a good memory, but I know myself, I forget. You know, so when I get into circumstances and stuff where it's cost me some time, I say to myself, I am going to put a how-to together, and I'm going to save that file. And I'll just share one little area I did this in, putting in hot water heaters. You know, my brother Dave and I, we went and put a hot water heater in, and we had to make a couple extra trips. And anybody that does any project, there's nothing worse than when you are pressed for time and try to work on something like a hot water heater. You got the water pipe cut, you know, and you got to get this thing in, and it's getting late. You know, and Dave and I had to do certain things. So what I do is I put down a how-to so that when I next hot water heater, I pull this up, I know what I need to look for right away, so I don't have to do this stuff again. Okay, find your most productive time in the day and schedule most of your important tasks during that time. There is a time in the day where you're the most productive. You know, for some people it's early in the morning, for some people it's later at night. But these are the areas at times that you should be putting, as far as your goals are concerned, you should be plugging part of that into that area, because this is the area you're going to produce the most. I don't know about you guys, but my most productive area time is in the morning. You know, late at night I turn into a basket case. But early in the morning, you know, so if I want to do something, you really nail it out, that's the time for me to do it. And that's where it's good, and for time management, to find that time where you can put and make it your vital time, where you can do your best work. Okay, set up times during a day for reading email and listening to voicemails. We talked a little bit about that last week. Some people are open book. I know when I worked at Pierce, it'd always pop up, you got mail, or something would pop up in front of you. So every time it popped up, oh, I'll go take a look at that, you know. And then another 15, 20 minutes later, you know, and that's just the way it goes. Or every time the phone would ring, you'd answer it. And as you do that, it can eat up a lot of your time. Okay, let's see. Schedule each day in advance so you don't waste time trying to figure out what you need to do. And that's where I think is crucial too. Being able to plan your day ahead of time, so you don't have to sit there and say, what should I do now? Or whatever, you've already got it laid out. You know step by step what you're doing that day. And then set only certain times for TV, you know, and schedule so much time. This is all my block of time. Don't get caught up, because I know I read an article recently about the Netflix addicts, you know, where they're getting into these series where they watch 3, 4, 5 of them in a row. And they had a picture, it was a cartoon picture, but it showed all kinds of popcorn, empty pizzas, and pop cans and all this stuff. It looked like they've been there all day watching Netflix. See, if you really want to get good vital time, you find, you know, TV's okay, but find a segment and try to keep yourself within that time frame. Okay, call ahead for food orders. Okay, this is something Shirley and I do. Call ahead rather than wasting time going there, calling and waiting for them to make all this stuff. I know Shirley and I, a lot of times we'll go like for a pizza, we'll call up and say we're going to be there in 10 minutes. You know, and when we get in there, we sit down and everybody looks at us because our pizza is right there. You know, they've been waiting for about 15 minutes for their pizza. Ours is already made. Okay, and then avoid the herd when eating out, shopping, or even driving if possible. Finding times during the day where you can do things where there isn't a lot of people. You know, I go in grocery shopping, going to Walmart. Try going to Walmart like 9, 10 o'clock at night. I mean, it's nice. You know, or early in the morning. You know, I've been there like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, and man, you can fly through those. You go down these frozen sections, and all the lights are off, but as soon as there's motion, they come on. So I'm walking down, watching lights pop up. You know, it's like my grand entrance or something. But these are ways that you can find to save time. A lot of people get caught up in the herd, and taking time to do it right the first time. Okay, I probably shouldn't have to say that, but you know, I know in my personal life, a lot of times I like to hurry up and do things, but it isn't done right. You know, and sometimes if you take a couple extra minutes to make sure what you're doing is right, and my wife's giving me a look right now, but you know, it saves you a lot of time because you don't have to go back and redo something. You know, you've got it done the way it should, and that's where. So we're working on trying to save time in a way, and that's where we talked last week. And the process we're trying to do right here is we're trying to have your dreams come true. We're trying to take the dreams in your life and giving you an opportunity to make goals out of them. And that's where, what happens a lot of times with people is just this. I remember my daughter when she was real young, you know, and I remember having to carry her up to bed. She had fallen asleep, and halfway up the stairs, she woke up. You know, and she looked at me and she said, "Hey, Daddy," you know, and all that stuff, and I'm putting her to bed. She says, "Okay, Daddy, I'm going to go back to dreaming again." You know, and I laid her down and she went back to dreaming again. But you know, it makes me think a little bit because so many times people quit dreaming because their dreams don't come true. Because the areas in life that they've gone after, they're not seeing any results there. And that's where we need to learn to dream again. We need to learn how to harness this, to be able to put goals and stuff, and to achieve these areas in our life, not letting these days go by. And there's so many people that have died. They've allowed dreams to die. They don't even think about dreams anymore, or ideas. They just brush it off. We don't need to do that. We can achieve a lot of things. That's where I know a lot of times in life we get ourselves in situations where there's so many possibilities, but in our mind, and that's where we're going to tonight, in our mind we let them go. You know, we dissolve this, and we sometimes become our own worst enemies. That's where I'm going to get into tonight's lesson here. It's called Direct Your Thoughts and Life, Build Beliefs That Make Success Inevitable. Okay, in Proverbs 23:7, it says, "As a man thinks in his heart, so is he," and that is so true. Okay, successful men and women train their minds to think only about what they want to happen in their lives. This is by Thomas Newberry. So, yeah, so people who are successful realize that it's their thought process. It's what's inside of you. So many times people think it's what's outside that's causing the change and all that stuff. No, it's not. It's what's inside of us that causes it. So it's the way we think. And a lot of times the only thing that's keeping us from the areas that we want to achieve in our life is ourselves. We are our biggest roadblock because it's the way we think. And that's where we're going to try to break that down a little bit tonight. And I'm going to go into reading a segment here. It says here, "One of the most powerful influence on your character and attitude in life is not someone else, but it is you and what you say to yourself and believe. There is so much in life that is controlled by what you are saying to yourself. It is in the interest of this exercise, I would like to call this to your personal self-talk. At every moment of the day, you are either talking yourself into success or out of it. You are constantly reinventing yourself by every thought that races through your mind." So basically I'm saying there's a conversation going on, and it's inside of us. You know, and this is the area we're going to tap into tonight a little bit, because, you know, yeah, you have lofty goals, you have big ideas and stuff, but you know, could it possibly be that we are putting landmines in these ideas by the way we're talking to ourselves and the way we're handling the thoughts that go through our mind? Going on, this is self-talk. Taught is what you say or think to yourself. Many times, silent self-talk is just your thoughts and the conversation that is going on in your mind. When I'm speaking to a group of people, I often tell them that there's a whole lot of conversation going on in their minds as I am speaking. And I know that you are, as you're reading this or listening to this, you are doing the same. Could be good, constructive one, or it could be a destructive one. See, there is conversation going on right now. See, I don't have good ears to hear all this stuff because you can't hear it, but it's in your mind. There's conversation going on. So people are, it could be a constructive conversation or it could be destructive. It could be a conversation saying, you know what, I can do things. This is positive stuff. I can apply this to my life. I can see changes, all that stuff, very constructive. Or it could be a conversation saying, you know what, I've tried before. And I really, I've got all these issues and stuff of that nature. See, this is all destructive stuff. That's where you can take a beautiful idea and just ruin it. You can take a beautiful idea that is there for you. All the possibilities in one idea. Last week we talked about the space capsule or the first man on the moon. It all started with an idea that somebody had and said, this is what we're going to do. See, in our lives it's the same thing. It's all an idea and how we take care of that idea. And that's where a lot of times we don't take care of it well because in our mind we're killing it. We're killing it just with the conversation and thoughts that we're carrying on in our mind. But we're going to try to change that tonight. Okay, it is good to pay attention to what you are saying and thinking, for it is a gateway to your future and all that you will ever become. God has created us a living being that can go in any direction with a free will to do so. Your mind and mouth are vehicles that will help us to get there, whether it be good or bad. As King Solomon put it several thousand years ago, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Therefore you must be careful, for you can think and talk yourself out of everything you want in life. And that's so true. And going on, it says here, I can't say enough how important it is to think and speak positively every day in your life. When we do this, we allow ourselves to create a positive atmosphere around us, and this is the atmosphere that allows positive things to happen. The greatest gift you can give others is to always be thinking and speaking positively about life as an opportunity and not a curse. You see, that's where you see what we say and how we handle ourselves. We speak to ourselves, but what we speak to other people, what we have to listen to and stuff too. The negativity, all the downfall. Poor guy comes up with an idea, and how many people tell him it won't work? I myself, I can go back in my life and different things that I've come up with that I've shared with people. You get to the point where you don't want to share no more because when they start throwing negative stuff at you, it kills the idea. You think this is all exciting and whatever. All of a sudden somebody's saying, well, that's stupid. It just one little comment and it's gone. It's gone. So we have to be careful what we do. There are so many people who find themselves stuck in a hole, having in their minds no way to get out. It could be a financial problem, a habit, an attitude, a challenge with your weight or any other area where you are dissatisfied. It doesn't matter how you've gotten in this hole. What does matter is that you get out. And changing the way you think and talk are the key tools to getting out. To get out, you are going to need to think up, look up, speak up, and climb up, using that to succeed. So we're going to talk about this a little bit more as we go on here tonight. Okay, the first rule in doing this is to stop digging yourself deeper and quit focusing on being in this hole and start focusing on being out of it. Remember that your self-talk tends to work against you until it can be turned around to work for you. Positive self-talk is a thought you intentionally choose to think because of the great results it will produce in your life. See, we speak faith in our life. All the words and everything that comes out of us, it's either trying to destroy or it's trying to build up. You see, we can learn to speak in a positive way about what's going to happen in our life. It isn't if it's going to happen, it's when it's going to happen. It isn't maybe someday, someday I will. You speak positive things and you speak life into what you're trying to do. But you turn it around and say, well, I don't know, or you start speaking doubt and stuff in there, you kill it. That's where, we've come this far. We're in session 4 right now. We're trying to take something and move it along. And that's where tonight we're trying to say that, how you handle this stuff is where it's going. I mean, we talked about this before. The individual that's all excited one day, and then the next day he's not excited anymore. What happened? Who do you talk to? Or did he talk to himself? Who killed that excitement? You get all excited. Sometimes you get certain things that happen. You say, man, I can see myself there. It's me. It's me. I can just see that. I'm so excited because this is something that's real, and I know I can do this stuff. Then all of a sudden the next day, somehow the excitement's all gone, and I don't feel like I can do this anymore. What happened? Who talked to me? Nobody talked to me, except for maybe me. and the thoughts I've been carrying in my mind. See, now if I would be able to continue to speak positively about this idea in my mind and in the things I say, that's where it's becomes so important how you speak about your dreams and the areas you're going after. It's good to say this to people, in a positive way, because it reinforces in you what you're going after. It builds you up. You build up your faith in yourself, in what you're trying to do. And that's where the faith is such a powerful thing. And tonight we're going to talk on that a little bit about beliefs. You have to believe in what you're doing, and you have to build faith into that. Otherwise, the smallest little thing can kill that. Okay, our beliefs are a collection of subconscious thoughts, which represent what you consider to be the absolute truth about any situation or condition in your life. That is why our Lord has said to us, "You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free." Our belief system is literally hardwired in us, and at times we need to be unwired and rewired correctly. We are not consciously aware of our beliefs, for we have been living with them so long. If you're not satisfied with where you are going, you need to start believing and start making changes. What makes our Married for Life relationship builder class so impacting is that we help the couples to see and believe the possibilities of having a good relationship and give them the knowledge of how to obtain it. This never works for couples who don't believe in it. See, it is all about a belief process, and that's every part of our life. Individuals that struggle have a different belief. Individuals that succeed have a different belief. They see things different, they believe things different. But you've lived with your belief so long, it is hard to change that belief. We're going to talk a little bit about that tonight, but it's hard to change that belief. But it has to be unwired. It has to be undone. And that's where a lot of people go from falling short in things that they're wanting to do, but a lot of it's their belief system. Okay, going on, successful men and women train their minds and think only about what they want to happen in their lives. Since the human mind is always seeking comfort and pleasure and tries to avoid and move away from discomfort and pain, your tendencies will be to always continue what you are doing because it feels good. While this is natural, you must be willing to overcome this to reach your full potential. You must stop the negative thoughts and self-talk today and start filling your mind with positive truths, speaking about where you want to be in life, for wherever you direct your mind to think and to say will ultimately reveal to all just who and what you are. Yeah. So the way we think and what we say is so important. And that's where we're going to go through some points right now. We're going to try to break this down a little bit, try to get an understanding on it, because it's one thing to say you have to have a goal, and you got to have action plans, of course. And we say you got to be skillful at all this sort of thing. So you get out your pencil and you start writing down, well, this is what I want to do, and I put a date by this, and so I'm going to do it by this date. Then I've got action plans and all that, but you don't want to undermine it. And that's where tonight we're talking about things that can undermine what you're trying to do. And that's where you want to get yourself into a place where all the tools you need to achieve, you understand this. And so you're constantly working for ways to better yourself on the inside to complete this goal. Because a lot of the situations and things that people go through in life are not easy. We talked about that. They're tough. Some of the areas that you have to break through and all that stuff, it's a destruction and rebuilding again of something inside you. That's never an easy thing to do. But the individuals that do that have great opportunity, because once you do that, you've got a way of handling things. You've got a way of thinking. You've changed the inside a little bit. So you can take an idea, you can take a goal or a dream or whatever you might want to call it, and you can follow that through. Because you become unstoppable, because you've got all the ingredients working for you. And that's where, as a man thinketh, so is he. And that's basically a profound truth, because it's so true. And that's where you can train yourself up to think the way you want to think. It's all how you feed. It's like, what's that, GJO or garbage in, garbage out? I forget what they call it in computers. We used to do that. Garbage in. We used to do a little programming, and when it come back and nothing worked, the instructor used to always tell me, garbage in, Don, garbage out. You get the program right, you'll get what you want right. And see, that's the same thing in our lives. Our whole thought process, we've been programmed from young on. And blessed we can be if we're in a right programming school, a school of good thought, where everything is positive. That's why I always commend parents that know how to speak to their children because they don't have a language when they're first born. That's all. The only language they have is what they hear. And if it's positive, upbuilding, this is what they hear and this is what's being plugged into their mind, eventually it'll be their hardwire, the way they see things. And that's where, raising children is a tremendous task. But but we'll go to point 1 here. Okay, to succeed in life, you must learn the language of success. Okay, it is your self-talk, which is what you say or think to yourself, either silently or aloud. It is a silent conversation that you hold in the privacy of your own mind. Every thought you have either moves you towards or away from your goals and dreams. Every thought counts. So how we think counts. And that's where it's so important sometimes. Even when you think about people, like myself, I try to stay away from stuff. I don't like a lot of negative talk because it wears on me. And, even a lot of the negative talk in the news and stuff wears on me. I for sure don't like it when I hear people gossiping and cutting down other people because I don't need these thoughts because every thought does count. And the more negative you put in yourself, guess what it does to you? It gets you thinking negative. I don't know how many times somebody has talked negatively about an individual, and I got to meet the individual. I said, this guy's a great guy. I don't see none of this stuff, but before I met this individual, I'm thinking in my mind, he's got issues, and whatever. It's just garbage. That's where it's good to think good in all situations and feed yourself good so that's the way you think rather than allowing a lot of negative to flow through your minds. Okay, number 2. It says at every moment of the day, you are either talking yourself into or out of success. Okay, your character is defined by your thoughts and what your mind is speaking to you. We must learn to control this inner dialogue or self-talk if we are to maximize our God-given potential. Every thought that races through our mind helps to reinvent or redefine our future if we can think it. See, and that's where, everything that goes through our future and the things that we're going to establish in our lives and succeed in our life take a nurturing. And it's all about our talk. I know I ran into an individual some time ago. This was in Utah. His name was Stanley Brown. And this guy is stuck in my mind for a long, long time. He was a black man, and he was dressed up in a nice suit with, it almost looked like a tux and stuff, and he was in a church service. And I was in the church service, and he asked me how I was doing. And I shook hands with him. I told him, I said, I think I'm doing pretty good, but it's my thoughts. And he looked at me and he says, you don't think. You don't think. He said, you know you're doing good. He says, every word you say, every word. He says, if you go into the good book, that's what he was talking about. He says, everything was a positive statement. It was spoken in a positive way for it to happen. He says, in your life, everything has to be positive. You can't belittle yourself. You can't talk negatively about things because what happens then? You destroy an atmosphere inside you that can produce positive things. And as far as your goals and things you're going after, that's where when you see truly successful people, and I'm not talking about people that can catch footballs and make yards and stuff like that, but people who truly have character, that can truly live life the way it's meant to be lived, carry themselves in a good way, handle themselves in a good way, and be able to reach a level of what I call maturity. These individuals have nurtured their minds in some way or some fashion so that they can allow the positive things to be developed inside. And that's where a lot of times in life, our negativity continues to hinder our maturity in life. We are meant to be mature, but we can't be mature because we're allowing the negativity and stuff to hinder us from developing areas and characters within us. But anyway, how to talk to yourself out of success. I've got a couple points that are not in your material. Okay, these are just sayings that people say. I just want to give you some examples. And there's nothing wrong with these. I mean, unless you want to succeed in life, there's nothing wrong with these stuff. But for people that say this stuff, they don't realize what they're saying. But they are speaking to themselves and they're speaking to the people around. Okay, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Okay, how many times have you ever heard that? You can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, anybody who wants to grow in any area and speaking that to himself, he's shutting himself down. He's basically saying, I'm not going to learn anything. Can't teach an old dog new tricks. There's no limit to what we can learn. There's no limit. Okay, I'm just this way. Okay, how many people say, I'm just who I am? That's just who I am. You can be different. You can change. So it isn't just who you are. Maybe who you are right now, but don't say that's just who I am because you can use that excuse for the rest of your life. Okay, I know my limitations. I know my limitations. No, you don't. You know, we have a potential, Betty, beyond limitations. We really do. But, you know, we can limit ourselves, and that's who limits us? We do. It's the way we limit ourselves. I'm losing my mind. You know, I'm losing my mind. No, you're not. You know, if you want to lose your mind, you can start talking like that, but you're not losing your mind. You should be gaining your mind. You should be growing your mind. You know, just like every part of your life, you should be strengthening it, making it stronger. You know, physically, in all areas of life, your mind is an area you should be expanding. That's where reading and all these things, so important. Okay, I don't have enough time. We talked about that. They say, I don't have enough time. When people say that, that's very negative. You know, okay, that's too rich for my blood. That's too rich for my blood. Okay, well, how poor do you want to be? You know, how poor do you want to be? You know, I mean, that's too rich for my blood. You know, nothing should be too rich for your blood. We know we should be able to say, hey, you know, we can reach any level and go after anything. There's no reason why we can't. There's principles and things that need to be followed, but you know what? I can achieve any level, any level. Okay, I'm living proof of Murphy's Law. You know, if there's going to be bad, it happens to me. People say stuff like that. I'm saying, whoa, you know, and you hear this. Especially, you know, when you know some of this stuff goes on, you know the value of self-talk, and you hear people start saying some of this stuff, it's like you're saying, ooh, you know, it just cuts, and you don't know what you're saying. Or like this one lady that I used to work with, she was saying that she's, if anything comes around, I catch it. You know, and so she was sick all the time. She was right. I mean, if there was any sickness or whatever, because she was fulfilling her prophecy by what she said. She said, I always get sick. You know, every year I get a cold this time of the year, or this happens to me. I'm sitting there, I just sit there and talk to her a little bit. You don't want to say that. You don't want to say that. I am healthy. You know, I'm healthy. I am strong. And, you know, and I overcome and all this stuff. You know, because I want to continue to press on. And I realize my mouth can be my worst enemy. Okay, I used to have so much energy. Yeah, I used to have so much energy. I don't know what happened. You know, you don't say that. See, you are just as strong as you want to be. You know, so you can even try this yourself. You know, get yourself in a position, say, you know, I am full of energy. I've got lots of go power and all this stuff. You start saying this stuff to into the mirror, and all of a sudden you start to feel like you've got energy. You say, oh man, I am so tired. You know, I have no energy at all. And you start saying this stuff. Guess what? You are going to be tired. You know, so you can energize yourself because it's all self-talk. It's you talking to yourself. So number 3 says to reach the top, you need to think up, look up, speak up, and ultimately climb up. Okay, we talked about that. If you are in a hole, you need to stop digging. Most people have difficulties climbing out of holes because they focus too hard on the hole. And just like golf, yeah. So, you know, if you're in a hole, a lot of times people are so focused on their bad situation, where they're at, and the problems they got, where they're at, and you know, I just can't get out of all this sort of thing. You know, and it tends to be what you focus on is where you go. You know, that's where, like, you walk the top of what do they call that? In building on the top beam. You walk top beam. You know, if you focus on what's right in front of you and what's around you, you're probably going to fall. But you know, if you can focus further ahead about getting across that beam, you walk this thing and it's no problem at all. It's just like my golf game. You know, when I get behind a water hole and I focus on the water, guess where my ball goes? I don't know what it is, but it goes in the water, because what you focus on is what you keep yourself in. And that's where people who have hard issues and problems and stuff, what happens is they don't speak up, they don't look up, and they don't climb up. They don't get out of their hole because they're stuck in their hole. And that's all they see is their hole. You need to get beyond all that. And that's where we have to climb out in our thinking. It's our thinking that needs to change first. So many times people wait for an outside something to happen. Somebody to give them a bunch of money, or somebody to help them and all that stuff. No, I mean, that stuff's nice. But the thing that really needs to happen happens up here. You get yourself in a position where you speak, you look, and you get yourself out of the hole. Okay, number 4. It says, in the law of cause and effect, your thoughts are causes and your circumstances are the effects. Oh yeah, nothing happens by accident. Every effect must be preceded by a cause. Even if you can't determine it, there are reasons for everything that happens to you. Some call it bad or good luck. No, it's not so. But ultimately, whatever you put into your mind and think on will eventually be exposed for everyone to see. See, and that's where there is a law out there, and it's called cause and effect. Choices that harmonize with our beliefs. According to your belief, be it done unto you. Whatever you tell yourself with feeling will eventually become a belief of yours. Yeah, that's true. And that's where everything about our life is our beliefs. We run everything across our beliefs. What I'm saying here tonight, whether you believe it or not, is running across your belief system. You know, whether you're saying, yeah, you know, I'm going to apply this to my life and I'm going to do this, you know, because I want to get out of my hole, I want to continue to progress. It's all part of your belief system. If that system is corrupt, it will hinder what you're trying to do because you won't believe it. Because it's all about our belief. That's where nothing is impossible to the individual that believes. I know the good book talks about a mustard seed. You can move a mountain with a mustard seed of faith, of belief that's inside of you. And that's where it's interesting in life, because I've read, see, advertising is all about a belief system. They're trying to get you to believe something. And the more you run it across, the more it becomes hardwired inside you. You know, I sit there and I watch these car commercials, boom, 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 one after another. After a while, I start to even recognize what the make of that car is. You know, and you start to think about this. But they realize and they know the mind. You know, advertising knows the mind. I've read this, I don't know if this is true, but they say the average person in the normal world gets about 1,500 messages of different sorts a day as far as advertising. You know, it could be a message on a billboard. It could be something on a carton that you bought or whatever. It could be a television over and over and over again. But the average individual is getting messages thrown at them that they want you to believe in, that this is the best, you know, the best product out there, or whatever it might be. In your mind, you think you got to have this stuff. I don't know if you guys have ever been there, but I have. You know, all of a sudden you believe, I got to have this. You know, this is, I mean, what's my life going to be like without this? You know, and I start to say now, I says, well, you know, I lived all these years and managed to live without it. Well, why do I need to have this? But you know, what it's doing, what society is doing is building up a belief system in people. And whoever can get it out there in many different avenues can get it hardwired in enough people, they will be very successful. They will sell. You know, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, all these places, you know, they get their names on everything. They name football stadiums after them. I mean, their names all over the place, you know, as far as their product. So in your mind, it's Coke, it's Pepsi, or whatever it might be. You know, it's in your mind. It's hardwired in your mind. So if you're going to a store, you know, oh yeah, you know, or you relate to people that, you know, I remember years ago they used to have cigarette commercials and stuff. You know, like the Marlboro Man, you know, he's on a horse and he's tough and he's rough and rugged and all that stuff, and he's smoking Marlboro. You know what? If I want to be like a Marlboro Man, I better smoke Marlboro. Well, I heard the Marlboro Man died of lung cancer, but you know, but this is the impact that things have. I know we talked a little bit earlier about beards in the World Series. You know, and what it does to people. How many people do you think now are going to be wanting to grow beards? Because it's an advertisement. It's something that's run across. It's a belief system. Somebody thinks it's cool because somebody's winning a game or something like that, and they're wearing this or they're doing this. It's huge. It's huge. And that's where in our life, if we can take, because it's a system that works inside of us, and we know that. And if we can take that system and make it work for the positive in our lives, and be able to take the dreams and the goals and whatever we are, and reinforce it in a positive way so that we can get a belief system going in a positive way to achieve something. How powerful is that? You know, how powerful is that tool alone? If we can get ourselves in a position where we don't have things that we don't want to believe, ye shall know the truth and the truth shall set you free. You know, it's all a belief system. What is the true truth? Do I need Coca-Cola you know, to have a great life? No, I don't need Coca-Cola, but that's the type of message you're trying to put in my mind. You know, but you know, the things that we really do need, sometimes we don't deem these as being something we do need. You know, and if we can get the truth inside of us, we can truly be free of a lot of negative areas and stuff coming against us, because we know the truth. We know what we need to do. We know what's going to nurture, what's going to get us into the place where we can achieve things in life. Okay, moving on here. Okay, the principle of concentration states that whatever you focus upon grows and expands. Whatever you focus upon. Being able to concentrate and stick to one thing until it's complete. If you can concentrate on your positive experiences, your goals, people you love, then it is those things that you will attract to you. You will be blessed with more accomplishments and people who love you. if there's anything good, if there's anything wholesome, if there's anything righteous about anything in life, these are the things you need to focus and concentrate on. Because what happens is whatever we focus on, we attract. We attract it to us. That's where if you focus on negative things and you focus in a place where this isn't going to work, the world is coming apart, this is all that way and this is that way and no use doing this and whatever it might be, what you do is you get yourself so focused in things not happening or whatever, it kills you because everything is in the negative. But you know, if you can say, you know, I was created for a purpose in life and created for a time such as right now, and I am going to focus on everything positive and believing everything positive because what I want in my life, I want to live a positive life. I want to be able to be encouraged. I want to be enriched. I want to be able to have everything I need inside of me to carry me through. And if I don't allow that stuff, because whatever I concentrate on is attracted to me. You know, and that's where if you can concentrate, I've shared this before, but anything in life, sports or whatever, because I know this one lady I was talking to, she said, you know, I don't have any interest at all in golf. And she told me that, and I told her, I said, well, I tell you what, if I was to sit down and talk to you about golf, and if you were to read a book about golf, and if you were to watch possibly Tiger Woods play golf, and hopefully it's a good day for him, but, you know, I guarantee you'd have some interest in golf. Because whatever you concentrate on is attracted to you. And that's where in your areas, in areas of your dreams and goals and stuff, what you need to do is concentrate on what you need in those areas. You need to get yourself in circles of people that maybe talk about whatever it is that you're going after. You need to read material about people who have done what you want to do. You know, because all of this stuff, if anybody in the world can do it, you can do it too. But you know, if you can concentrate on these areas, it's powerful. Especially certain times too. Like it's always good early in the morning sometimes to be able to focus on things because it kind of sets your day a little bit. But it's also good at nighttime before you go to bed to take some time to concentrate on what you want to achieve, where you're going, maybe read something about it. Because what happens is you feed your subconscious mind, you know, and you got yourself working 24/7 on the areas that you want to be directed in. You know, and that's where our whole life is set up in our mind, in the directions and things that we allow in it and allow to come out of us. And that's where it's so important that we focus in the right areas. Okay, number 7 says, we must remember that all life is an exercise in strengthening your mind. A flabby mind will not channel thoughts in a single direction. It'll be all over the place. Every thought or word triggers an image consistent with it. Your thoughts and self-talk are like operating instructions. Let this tool work for you. Like everything else, this will take practice, but it will make your future and will help you to complete your project in the areas that you're going after. All this stuff takes practice. It takes an understanding. But a lot of times people don't realize the tools are out there and they're inside you. You know, and that's where if you can channel yourself and get yourself to focus in one direction. So you see, there's a lot of floppy minds, sloppy minds. And what those type of minds is, they're not directed in one. Some people call it waywardness, but they can't focus in one direction. They're all over the place. Why? Because they've got all kinds of stuff coming at them, 1,500 things a day coming at them, you know, and they're thinking on this and they're thinking on that and all this and that. But the things that they need to focus on and should be putting good concentrated effort into, they're not doing this. So you wonder why the idea, the dream, the goal, all of a sudden loses its value, loses its importance, and pretty soon 6 months later you say, I was going to do that one day, wasn't I? You completely lost it, you know, because you haven't programmed yourself in a way where you can be single-minded, going after what you are, what you're going after. And we need to do this. It is important that we do this. And I just wanted to share one little story here at the end here. This is about a lady named Mrs. Rose Blumkin was her name. And the story goes, she came to the United States in 1917. And she came on a peanut boat from Russia. And she came to the United States, and she got into the carpet business. And in the carpet business, she became very successful. And she came to America with a dream of being successful, because this is a land of opportunity and freedom. So she comes there, and she worked on this. When she was 90 years old, she decided that, because she was still working the business, 90 years old, she decided she was going to sell off the business. And she did. And she had a $180 million business at that time. She sold off the business, but part of the deal was she'd still be part of the business yet, working with the people and stuff. She was 9 years old, and she wanted something to do. Well, the next 5 years, she became very dissatisfied in how they were running the business. So she went and started, and she had no clause in there saying that she couldn't do this. She went and started another carpeting business. By the time she was 100 years old, she was in a wheelchair at that time, but she had a $5 million carpet business going. You know, because she had known a process and a way of achieving her dreams. I love stories like this because it says there's no limit on your life. There's no such thing as saying it's too late or any of this sort. You can do anything, anytime. And this is Mrs. Blumkin, who came over in a peanut ship. You know, she knew something. And at 95, she knew that she could start another business, and that's what she did. And she worked her principles, and it happened. And that tells me that I, as well as you, can achieve your goals. But it's going to be some work, and you're going to have to really dig in, and I don't know where you're at, because everybody's at different levels and different ways of thinking. I don't know how everybody's hardwired, but people who truly want to succeed, they need to take a stand and say, hey, you know what? I need to find the vital time that I can plug in and put the right thoughts in my mind. You know, so that I can think on the things that I need to think on, that I can build the character that I need, and the mental toughness that I'm going to need to succeed in any area of life. Because we're only given a period of time to be able to develop ourselves, to be able to use all the potential that we have, and to be able to serve mankind for whatever reason we were created for. And that's where it's up to us to say, hey, you know what? I am going to use the tools that are out there, and the tools that are out there is going to require me to change. It's going to require me to work on myself and develop my thought process and my desires, my eagerness, my momentum, my character, my commitment, all these things that we need to press on. Because without this, we become weak. And that's where there's a lot of individuals that have not strengthened their minds. They are very weak in what they do. They have great ideas and they get really excited about something one day, but the next day, something has happened. They have killed their dream in some way or some fashion. But we do have a little bit of homework here at the end, and I'm just going to quickly read through that. Number 1, in the assignments, it says, make a list of what you believe about yourself, your potential, and the world as if you have already achieved your goal. Okay, so if you've already achieved your goal, what would you be as far as yourself? You know, what type of character would you have developed? You know, what would have allowed this to happen in your life? How are you hardwired? You know, what type of character would you have to be able to achieve that goal? But this is digging into you, because everybody's different. Everybody's wired in a different way. Their belief systems are different. But, you know, and that's where this is just looking at you achieving the goal that you're going after. Okay, number 2 is write down at least 10 self-talk statements, affirmations for the goal that you are seeking to reach. Okay, write down 10 positive things that are real powerful, that you can go back to. That you can go back to daily if you want, saying, I can do this. You know, I have this capability. I got 2 legs and 2 arms. You know, I can think a little bit and I can see, you know, and I can do things. I really can. I'm positive I can do these things. You know, and if anybody asks me how I'm doing great. I am doing fantastic, because I realize that what I speak creates the atmosphere of what I really am. You know, and that's where I am not going to cut myself down. I'm not going to cut anybody else down. I'm going to be building myself up, and I'm going to be building up other people up, greatest people. Because there are people who say, it said that there's people who have a gift of faith. You know, and you say, what is that gift? Okay, a gift of faith is being able to speak faith into you and the people that are around you. Being able, because of your life, the way you see things, the way you handle yourself, you speak this stuff. So automatically you build faith inside of people, and they start to believe in themselves. You know, and that's what we need to do. That's where we can make 10 affirmations about whatever goal you're going after, positive things, that you can say, you know, I can do this. Because what you're doing is conditioning your mind to believe in yourself. And that's the biggest thing that has to happen here. You've got to believe in yourself. And number 3, find and read some motivational material this week to help you focus your mind on success. So if you can get your hands on anything that's going to be uplifting, try feeding yourself. You know, try to give yourself some good food rather than allowing the negative stuff to take over the territory that's in your mind. Try to establish some ground, and build some ground by reading some good, positive, motivational type thoughts this week. And with this, I want to thank all of you. I hope your belief system continues to improve and get better as we go on. And I want to wish you all a great week, and I'll see you again next week. Thank you.